Programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from experts on such topics as legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to our experts in community association law, estate planning law, tax relief, Medicare, public insurance adjusters, neuropathy treatment, business brokers, and personal injury law, along with many other topics. Now here's your host for the last 17 years, Steve O.
New Jersey, welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where for the last 17 years we have brought you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We have got a great show for you today. You asked us if we could put an estate planning show on. You've been asking for over a year. Well, we finally found an incredible law firm. We found attorney Kimberly Padden with the Padden Law Firm, and we did our first show last month. And I got to tell you, by your letters, it was an incredible show. Let me introduce you to Kimberly. Good afternoon, Kimberly.
Afternoon, Stephen. How are you?
I got to tell you, people loved your first show. We got people, they didn't have questions. They just said, what a great show. You had so much great information. And today is our New Jersey today, because right after your show, we have our New Jersey Medicare show. But welcome. We've got so many new people. Tell us about yourself and your firm.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Kimberly Patton. I've been practicing law for 40 years. I was with a big law firm for 20 years, and I started my own law firm 20 years ago. So I'm right double the time. Licensed in New Jersey and New York. We concentrate in trust and estate. So that's wills, living wills, powers of attorney, trusts, estate administration. But we also have a full service firm so that it's a one-stop shop. People can come here and we can handle almost everything that they need.
So besides estate planning, what else do you handle, Kimberly?
We handle real estate deals, sales of small businesses in general, making sure that they follow the rules and they keep their protection. Estate administration after a person passes away. Litigation, typically it revolves around a will or a family argument. And every so often, just what a contract, when I say every so often, just a contract or a matter that just doesn't quite fit into any of these big categories, neighbor disputes, an employment contract, interpreting something that needs to be interpreted. A lot of times we get from people who have to place their family member into a care facility, and the contracts are like 40 pages deep and lots of requirements, and the average person can't really follow them all the way through. And that's where we're very helpful with that.
And assisted living is so expensive, isn't that right?
Extremely expensive. And we help people figure out how to pay for it, what benefits they might be entitled to. A lot of things where, for example, my father was a veteran, and my mother, because she was his wife, was entitled to his veterans benefits even after he passed away.
Wow.
So he would have been entitled to veterans benefits, and she was also. And there's a number of different veterans benefit programs out there. So I counsel all military families, if you're ever struggling financially, check with the VA. There might be a program that can help you.
Kimberly, I've been doing this for so long. I remember years and years ago, there used to be veterans law. Is that still an area of law to practice?
It is. And a lot of it has what we handle and we counsel clients on is really the benefits that are available for the elder planning. Would they qualify for a long-term care in one of the veterans' long-term care facilities, which is so much less expensive than a private facility? Do they qualify for help paying for a home health aid? And that is for wartime veterans. But you only really have to serve for one day during a war. You don't have to be in the battle. You don't have to be overseas. My dad never went. He was in the Marines during the Korean War, but he was on call, but he never went. So all he really needed was one day. So that's why I say everybody, if you need long-term care, double check the discharge papers, the DD 214, see what the dates of service were, and you might be entitled to some benefits.
Well, I got it. We got so many questions. We started promoting your show 2 days ago, but I got a surprise for you. And I normally do, if something comes across my desk, like I'm getting ready to tell you, I usually wait to tell you so I can get a reaction. So
Okay.
the show we did, you never know who's listening. We had a very large firm in New Jersey who specializes in estate planning listen to your show, and they called us up and they said, we would like to do a show like this. And I said, well, we've already got our estate planning attorney with Kimberly Patton. He said, I got to tell you this. He said, she did a really good job answering questions. Now, I'm making a big deal out of this because we get a lot of calls like this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they'll put down the expert we have better. And he was sitting here telling me, he said, we've got 25 attorneys. But he said, I got to tell you, your attorney did a great job. You're lucky to have her. I thought that was incredible, Kimberly.
That really is. It really makes me feel very good.
You never know who's listening.
You never know.
I got to tell you, people don't understand what estate planning is. They hear the word estate, and first thing they think of is, I don't need a will. I don't have an estate. Explain to people what estate planning is.
Estate planning is really protecting your family and protecting your assets to make sure that your assets are protected for your family or your loved ones or whomever you want them to be protected for. And how we do that, the world has changed dramatically. I mentioned my parents, even back then, a generation ago, the world was different. You had a lot of old-fashioned marriages, same children from that one marriage, and the laws were very good about protecting, even if you didn't have a will. Okay, so if somebody dies, their spouse inherits. Both spouses die, all the kids inherit equally. Nowadays, we've got blended families. We've got families that are not married legally, but they live together as though they are married, and the laws have not caught up. So the estate planning documents that everybody needs is to have a will that says, who will inherit my money if I die? Who will be in charge of making sure that happens? That's your executor. A financial power of attorney. While I'm alive, who's going to make sure my finances are taken care of if I can't take care of them myself? So we need somebody that is legally authorized to do that. A medical power of attorney, also called a healthcare proxy. Who should be allowed to talk to my doctor and get information? The HIPAA laws, or the laws of privacy, do not allow a doctor to talk to the spouse even, or the parent of an adult child. That's how important this document is. I had it happen myself with my husband. My husband just didn't understand what was going on. When I tried to call the doctor, he wasn't allowed to talk to me. And then I sent over the power of attorney, the healthcare proxy, and he spoke to me. And a living will. These are the 4 basic documents. A living will is end of life. Do you want to be kept alive on life support if there's no chance of recovery? And on all of these documents, please always name a person and then a backup person. On some of the documents, if you've got the right family dynamics, you can name 2 people at the same time. You want your two children to serve as your financial power of attorney or your healthcare proxy, but make sure that they will get along and work together, not two children that hate each other and are going to fight over every decision. And that happens. Unfortunately, some parents just don't want to choose. They love them both. They're afraid if they choose them, they're favoring one, even if they know that the two children can't get along.
Hey, Kimberly, I want to ask you, because we're getting a lot of questions coming in right now. People are asking about like power of attorney and the executor, and how do they explain if they have 4 kids, choosing one, or like you said, you could have 2, but how do you do it without hurting feelings?
It's a tough decision, and I counsel my clients, don't worry about hurting feelings, because you have to name the child that is going to do the best job. The child that thinks like you, that is, you can have faith in, that they're always going to do what you want. Now, oftentimes it's pretty simple. Oftentimes it's the oldest one first, the next one, the next one, the next one, in order. So, and when I have that, oftentimes I have parents that have 4 children, and they name the oldest and then the second oldest. And I say, you know what, let's put the third and the fourth in here also. So their names are there. You haven't forgotten about them. It'll probably never get to them, but at least you're not hurting their feelings. But sometimes you have the child that is really great with money and the other child that is really great with medical issues. Well, then choose the one that's really great with money for your financial power of attorney, and choose the medical power of attorney to be the one that's great with medical decisions. There's a lot of work. All these jobs are a lot of work. So it's not like you're showing favoritism. You're picking the one that's going to do the best job.
This is from Myron. He said, thank God there's a show like this out there. Thank you so much for bringing this to us. I want to know, when you're taken to a hospital, say on an emergency, how do they know what your wishes are?
Well, they don't. So hopefully you have something in your wallet that says, in case of emergency, contact this person, the person that you would want. A lot of people have it on their iPhones, in case of emergency, that the doctors will know how to reach that person. We often give cards that you can put in your wallet to say, all my estate planning documents are here at the Patent Law Firm in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Call my attorney. And then we can be the ones to contact the family if necessary. It really depends on the circumstances, but it is definitely something that you want to make sure that you have an in case of emergency within your pocketbook, within your wallet, somewhere.
Kimberly, I got to tell you, because I do so much research, I'm online a lot, read the news a lot, and I see where people are passing away in their 30s, their 40s, or 50s. First, it tells me we just never know how much longer we have on Earth.
That's for sure.
And it looks like people procrastinate when it comes to estate planning. And one of the things I really want to get across with this show is, don't wait. Do it now. I know you might think you're in the greatest health, but you never know, do you?
That's for sure. And we have a special program here because the powers of attorney for finances and for medical is so important that when your child becomes 18, they are legally an adult. And again, the doctors are not allowed to talk to the parents if there's an accident or something, unless there is a medical power of attorney, a healthcare proxy. So we believe in this so much. We have a very, very discounted rate for those situations. When you have an adult child naming their parents, we do that for a really discounted rate, just to make sure everybody is protected.
Oh, see, you know what? I think to be an estate planning attorney, Kimberly, you've got to have a big heart. You've got to have a feel for people, because, I mean, you're dealing with people who are talking about, afterlife.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And my whole staff is trained to remember that our clients are going through the worst time of their lives. Just thinking about passing away and leaving your minor children alone is terrifying. But you can't let that terror stop you from doing the documents and being prepared. God forbid your spouse has passed away, another horrible time of your life. So all of our staff is trained to be sensitive to that, to recognize when our clients kind of get a little testy because we didn't call them back within the last 5 minutes. We take really good care of our clients, and we recognize that how terrifying it is to do what we're doing. So we also have programs that make it simple. We really try to keep this as painless as possible.
So I've got to bring this up. Probate can get really, really expensive. So one of the great things you do is keep your clients out of probate.
We do. We can with the revocable trust. I will say that New Jersey probate is much better than other states, but it's still
That's
probate.
the cost.
It can cost. You can do it yourself, but if you're not experienced in it, you hire an attorney. So it costs a few $1,000s to probate the will. Now comes the administration. So, and that's another piece of it. We can do a lot of that up front by having a revocable trust. We have a revocable trust. You avoid probate for all the assets that are in the revocable trust, and it goes even faster than the New Jersey probate. But you still have the administration part. Now, remember, the revocable trust doesn't protect any of the assets. So, and the grantor, the people making that trust, they're still in charge of everything. You don't even have to get a separate employer identification number or federal ID number for the trust because it goes under the grantor's social security number. An irrevocable trust also does avoid probate, and it also protects the assets from any creditors. Now, the grantor, the people setting up the trust, should not be the trustees of that. They should not be in charge of it, because you want to say that I gave away my asset, and if I get sued by somebody, they can't take my house away from me. So the irrevocable trust has a really important place. The revocable trust has a really important place. We even have trusts specifically designed for life insurance and for special needs situations to make sure that a special needs person can still qualify for their Medicaid and their government benefits and still have money for the extras, to go on a vacation, to hire an aide, to have special therapy. So there's a lot of different uses of trusts, and we just always like to find out the client's goals and put the right document with the right person.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm kind of like Samson right now, because we got all these letters in and I'm trying to decide which ones to get in. Your show goes by so fast, but I got to do this one. This is from a gentleman who you did his mother's estate plan, and he said you did such a great job, but what people don't understand, there's so many things that you don't think to ask because you don't have a list. And the great part about having an attorney like Kimberly is she will ask you questions you never even thought. What a great letter. It's probably your cousin.
That is a nice letter. No, it's not my cousin. My cousin would never have given me that credit.
Well, that's a good one.
But this is what I say. We make it painless. We send you a fact finder that gets us a lot of basic information, and then we just have a conversation. And during the conversation, I'm able to ask the questions that I need to know to help people make decisions and understand the pros and cons of every decision they're about to make.
Kimberly, do people even try to do this themselves?
They do. And frankly, it's probably better for me if they do it by themselves, because then we're in court fighting over a document.
Right.
But I prefer not to be in court. I don't want to be fighting over documents. I know that every parent's greatest goal in life is to have children that love each other and are kind to each other. So we sure don't want some money getting in between that after the parents work so hard to treat all of their children equally.
Final question. This is from our YouTube. Michael wants to know, I live in Jersey half the year, in Florida the other half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hire an estate planning attorney. Do I get someone in Jersey or do I get someone in Florida?
It's a good idea to have somebody that knows both laws. Florida has a very hard probate state. It is a very hard probate state. So you definitely want a revocable trust for Florida. Now, I could prepare the revocable trust here, and then I have colleagues in Florida that would move your property that you own in Florida into the revocable trust. There's probably, and vice versa. So what I would suggest is to first decide what is your real domicile. And that depends on where is your driver's license, where do you vote, where do you file taxes. Those are the three big indicia of where do you call home, what is your domicile. So I would pick the state this attorney in the state that is your domicile, and then they will work with another attorney that most of us have colleagues in both states that can decide, do we need a revocable trust? Does it make sense? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we don't need it here in New Jersey, but Florida we do. And then once you do it for the Florida property, I then makes sense to create it and fill it and contribute to it all the different assets to really avoid probate in both states.
Kimberly, how do people reach your office?
They can call me at 201-291-1603. They can Google Kimberly, Patton Law Firm, Paton, just one T, and in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, and just they'll get to us. Do we have on our website that they can just ask a question or ask us to call them, and we will call them. Once this process starts, is we typically send a fact finder to get some basic information. We talk to people, we prepare a first draft so that they can see it. We answer any questions they have. We have most of our estate planning documents done on a flat fee. So you will know exactly what it's going to cost. And I do not want you not asking questions. Ask lots of questions. I want you to feel very safe and very comfortable and not worry that the bill is going up and up and up, because it won't. It's a flat fee.
Well, Kimberly, thank you so much. Kimberly's with us every month. I'm going to save your questions, and thanks for the 2,600 likes we got on
Oh,
TikTok.
that's great. That's really
Kimberly,
great.
we'll see you next month.
Take care. Bye, Stephen.
God bless. That's Kimberly Patton Law Firm. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we've got our Medicare show.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.